Okay, so now we want to basically configure this consumer project to download the dependencies from our Nexus repository. Okay, so for that we have to add one tag in our POM XML of consumer project. Please understand, I am inside the consumer project right now. Here I will just add this tag. I'll explain you what it is. First you have to say repositories. Inside the repositories you will define a repository, and inside this you will define these things. Okay, now if you remember, we had configured in our settings.xml. Let me go to the settings.xml. See here in the settings.xml, when we had configured Nexus repository to deploy our releases, so that time we had configured these things, this server, right? So in the server tag we have provided an ID to our Nexus repository. The ID is Nexus release and username password. So we will use the same ID here in this. Okay, okay, so we will URL, we will mention URL is of our repository. So our repository's URL, we can get it from Nexus. So let's go to the this page. Let's go to the repositories. This is our repository, right? So let's take this. This is the URL, and let's put it here. That's it. Now I'll show you something. Now what I'll do is I will just remove the libraries from our local repository. Okay, let me go to, this is our local repository, right? So I'll just delete these libraries from here, because otherwise it will not go to the remote repository to download them. If it gets shipped onto the local, it will not go to the remote. So let me just close these projects, otherwise it will not allow me to delete the local repository. So let me close. I will remove the local repository. I have removed the libraries from my local repo. You can see this is the local repo. And let's start the consumer project. So this is our consumer project workspace. Yes, so now let's build the project. So it is building the project right now actually. So it must be downloading it from the remote repository. Let's see. See here. This I had deleted actually. Right, DevOps batch 1. So you can see Memen has downloaded my library DevOps batch 1. Calculator API is the artifact ID folder, version 2.1. So currently in our consumer project we are using 2.1 version, right? 2.1, and it has downloaded this 2.1 from my remote repository Nexus. Let's change the version just to see one more time. Let's change it to 1.0. Let's confirm that it is not there in the local repo. You can see this is a local repo. Inside this we do not have, okay, we have it just now, it has downloaded. You can see 841, 841. So it has downloaded as soon as I saved the change. Now let me remove it for now. One more time, let's remove it. I just want to show you guys that it downloads it from our Nexus. I'm going to delete it. Let's delete it from the local repo. Okay, I have deleted it. Let's start the project. As soon as I open the project, it will start building it, and it will check the dependency in the local repo first, which it will not get because I have just deleted it from here, and it will download it from my remote. You can see on the right hand side, it has already started building it. You can see the DevOps batch 1 project folder has again been created. Calculator API and 1.0. So it has downloaded it from my remote repository, Nexus. Okay, that is the beauty of Maven actually. And Nexus also. I will change the version to 2.0 of my consumer. As soon as I save, it will download. You can see 2.0 has been downloaded. It is downloading actually. It is doing it. Let's wait for a minute or two. Let me, so here consumer project, I will just go Maven update project, force update. Okay. It is not downloaded yet. Okay. Maybe there is some issue with the dependency we have deployed here. Never mind. Let's change it to 2.1. It's fine. 2.1 is there. Yeah. So it has downloaded the 2.1. See, 2.1 it has downloaded the library, and we are good with this 2.1. There is some issue with the 2.0 which is deployed there, but it is downloading the dependencies now. So what we did, let's understand. Let's summarize this. We configured our Nexus server in settings.xml. Here we can use any ID of our choice, but the username and password should be of a user who has the rights to deploy the artifacts and download the artifacts. Point number 1. To configure the Nexus repository as a remote repository from where the dependencies can be downloaded, we have to configure repositories tag. Inside the repositories, we should have repository tag, and the ID you will mention here should be the same as that of the ID you mentioned while configuring the server. Okay, and URL of our repository. This is what we did while configuring our Nexus repository to download the dependencies, and to configure it as a repository where we can deploy the artifacts. So what change we did into the POM XML of our calculator application, API application I mean, let's go and check. So I'm just summarizing it, the settings. So here we, in the library project, we configured distribution management, and inside this we configured our repository. Right? So settings are same, just that here we have repositories and repository, and here we have distribution management and repository. Here ID should be the one which is configured in this server tag of in settings.xml, and URL URL. It's same. Just the thing is, the distribution management repository, whatever the repository you will configure here, the ID and the server. So the user should have the rights to deploy the artifacts. And here, when you are configuring the repository as a dependency repository from where the downloading would be done, so there the server which you are configuring, the user over there should have the rights to download the dependencies, right? If you remember, we had created the permissions, right? So accordingly you need to do it.